We have here a list of statements from people who have self-identified as being victims of bullying, and with the heading, "How does bullying make you feel?" And some of them are sad, tired, mad, scared, and we focus on these topics these days with our children and our kids who are in school, and tell them not to tolerate these things. And it's the same thing with the adults in the nursing profession. So let's talk about some of the background. There's always been bullies, and for as long as people have worked together, there's probably been some sort of workplace harassment or bullying or some of this violent behavior. And we're seeing it in the literature, mostly though in the past 20 years. And the behaviors that are identified as antagonistic include gossiping, undue criticism, innuendo, scapegoating, undermining, and passive aggression. And I think if we all stopped and thought about it for a few minutes, we could probably think of times when we had seen some of these behaviors ourselves. There was a study by Longo in 2013 that talked about a survey that they did of nursing students, and it was those findings were just stark. 53% of the students reported psychological abuse by staff nurses. 48% saw threatening body language and outright threats. And more profound than that is that many of them felt like the statement that nurses eat their young is indeed true. One of the areas, one of the states who has really moved to the forefront in this kind of research, and with a strong statewide campaign through their Nurses Association to do something about this, is South Carolina. They did a wonderful survey in 2011 and found that of nurses, 90% report witnessing lateral violence, and of those 90%, 83% said they themselves were the victim. Which is just really a very, very sad state of things. But, once again, as this comes out as an issue that it's okay to talk about, I think we're going to find that it's much more pervasive than many of us think. One of the things that we want to do is look at the precipitating factors. What are the things that research has found leads to all of this. Croft and Cash, who did a big project in 2012, found that the many factors that nurses face, with making life and death decisions, can play into this, along with the frenetic pace of our workplace and the crippling workloads. And that is something that comes around frequently as other researchers look at this. It's referred to as the economy, where hospitals have cut staffing due to these problems. But other ones are the curing versus caring dichotomy, whereas the doctors are seen as those who cure, and the nurses are seen in the subordinate, less valued position of those who care. Another precipitating factor is lack of interpersonal skills, and one that really just leads to more of this all the way around is an ineffective leadership. And in nursing, we see this time and time again, where nurses are promoted to positions of staff nurse, unit manager, not so much based on their skills as managers and leaders, but based on their nursing competence skills. And the two don't always translate to be the same basis of skill level. The implications, they're just, there's things that we're just seeing across the board. Nurses are leaving the profession in droves, particularly the young nurses. They come in, they get a taste of it, and they say, you know what, that's not for me. I'm going to move on to something else. It has contributed to the ongoing nurse shortage that we see, and that is also one of the perpetuating factors. And we see it having an implication on the aging of the workforce. A problem that's noted throughout the literature is that the nurses who are in the field right now are getting older. And then we see the implication of low staff morale, which leads to increased absenteeism, attrition of staff, and decreased quality of care. The American Nurses Association has made note of these things and sees it as something that we absolutely must deal with. One of the most profound findings in looking at this issue was a survey done by the Institute of Safe Medicine Practices, where they found that 40% of clinicians have kept quiet or ignored an improper med due to an intimidating colleague. So the implication there is patient care, danger to patients, and something that we all want to see without compromise. And another profound failure, and one that we seem to spend a lot of time talking about and a lot of times just spinning our wheels with, is the implication on our failure to achieve the professional status in the field of nursing. When this is going on in the front lines and not being addressed, then we are not going to be taken seriously. And that's huge. That's just absolutely huge. We can do all the research, we can do all the things that we're supposed to do, and we can be bright, smart, competent people. But if we're doing this in the front lines with each other, we're not going to be taken seriously.